Hey everyone. So in this video or the hands-on lab masterclass, we are going to learn about how you can create multiple types of Microsoft 365 Copilot agents. When you look at agents, it's in a wide spectrum. You can create these agents in multiple places where you create, define what are the capabilities of that agent and what are the knowledge sources you can attach. So this is a very detailed, super hands-on video demonstration. You can simply watch and pause the video and you can do it in your own lab or your live environment. So let me take you through what are the things which is involved in this masterclass. Primarily, we are going to learn about how you can create a personal agent for yourself. And additionally, you need to learn about a couple of things like what type of knowledge source I can attach behind this agent. Is it purely responding from large language model, or can it hold data in your SharePoint, or can you attach a document, or can it browse these data from internet? Or is there any other mechanism for me to add data like graph grounding or Microsoft 365 graph, etc.? So we're going to learn that as well. In total, we are going to create 7 types of agents. You can see on the right hand side, I listed down based on how you buy an iPhone these days. Similar concept, like a basic agent with a pro or elite type of an agent. So these names are designed in such a way that further down the line, the complexity of the agent increases. So the basic one would be responding to a large language model. The complex or the elite one will have further enhanced capability as well. In the first exercise, we are going to learn how you can build a personal agent in the Microsoft 365. So this is what I talked about, the Copilot experience. So if you have Microsoft 365 full license for Copilot, you would see work and the web tab. So how do you access it? You can go directly to the website, or you can click on the waffle when you sign in with your Office username and password. And right at the top, you would be able to see Microsoft 365 Copilot. So click on that. So that's take you to this particular page. Additionally, on the left hand side, you can find this Copilot icon, the colorful one. Click on it. It takes you to this experience. If you have the full license, the experience looks like this. You can see the work and the web tab. You can ask questions. So the topic today is not going through the entire Copilot. That's a different video altogether. What we are trying to learn is how to create or build or make our first agent in this Copilot experience. So if you look at on the right hand rail, you can see that there is few agents available called Visual Creator and few other agents. Similarly, you can see there is a get agent option. If you click on that, it will allow you to go through the list of agents built by third party or built by Microsoft, and you can pretty much go and click on that agent, click on add. That is going to make that agent available for you as a user. So now instead of the regular Copilot, you have using an agent called Writing Coach. This Writing Coach is designed to help you improve your writing and things like that. You can see that there are some prompt which is already available called critique my writing. So if you provide detailed and constructive feedback on a piece of writing and you provide a document or add additional content, it is gonna, let's look at if I can add a file. I'm gonna add this particular document, and if I say, hey, provide a detailed and constructive feedback on this piece of writing, so now this writing coach is designed to actually critique and improve our writing standards and things like that. So now it is going through the whole section of the document. It has gone through a lot of content, and let's scroll down. So overall feedback, it is telling, hey, this document is well written and informative. Then it is telling, hey, to further improve the document, focus on consistency, clarity, and visual aids, breaking down dense section into manageable subsections, things like that. So this agent is designed to particularly provide information on that. Additionally, if I click on new chat, it can find out the tone of an email or a message, translate a particular piece of text and things like that. So an agent is designed to do specific task based on what you are making that agent to do. So now we have seen how you can find an agent and add an agent to use it. Now let's go and learn how you can create an agent. So just underneath the get agent, there is a create an agent option. So if you click on create an agent, first you can see there are some templates made by Microsoft. You can see that there are career coach. This template is already designed. So if I choose this template, automatically while creating this agent, so if they come and ask these questions, hey, what courses and certification workshop would you recommend for someone to grow professionally? This is supposed to go and get that information back to me. So now this career coach is telling, hey, to provide you with the best recommendation, could you please describe your current role? So if I go and tell my current role is Azure admin in my organization, and if I say send it, so first it is recommending is Azure administrator course, then Azure solutions architect, things like that. What are the other courses I can do? There are Azure beginner course, Azure administration, and where I can find workshop details and things like that. So this is really good in terms of helping somebody with their career and things like that. So if I click on new chat, there are other cards as well which I can ask, like skill gap analysis. I can say that, hey, analyze my current skill and identify gap that I need to fill to advance my career. So when I ask this, it is gonna ask a bunch of questions to me to analyze the skill gap and things like that. So it is telling, hey, I'm happy to help you with that. To get started, could you please provide me with following details and things like that? What you do, your current role, responsibility, so that it can give me helpful suggestions on short term and long term. So if this is something which I wanna, these templates are already available, so you can use that as an agent itself. But if you want to use the essence of this and you want to build additional agent on top of it, you can click on configure. So when you click on configure, you can go and modify the name. Instead of career coach, you can change it to something else. You can change the icon from this to something different. Change the description because you are going to use the template. It is going to automatically fill all these details for you. And instruction. Instruction is nothing but how you are telling this agent to behave. If you look at this instruction of this agent, it clearly laid out the purpose. So the purpose is you are an expert career coach providing growth suggestions, and the goal is to understand the user's current role and things like that. So it is pretty self-explanatory and very descriptive. You can provide as much instructions as you want or can. You can see that you can go and give up to 8,000 characters. Then there is a knowledge part. So herein you can come and attach a particular knowledge source. This could be a public website. If you remember at the beginning of this exercise, I told you the knowledge source, what you can attach, varies based on how you create it and where you create it. For this personal agent at the moment, the knowledge sources are either the SharePoint repository, or you can scroll down and attach a public URL. So you can attach a public website, but when you do that, you need to turn this on, the web search that allow you to add a public website. And then if you scroll down, this is what I talked about, the Microsoft 365 graph connector. For my organization, I have already made these things available, like a Confluence connector, some enterprise connector to connect into different external websites and things like that. That is already indexed. Jira is already part of it. ServiceNow is already part of it. That doesn't mean you cannot add other knowledge sources. There are so many other knowledge sources are also available. I will create a separate video on showing you how you can attach additional knowledge sources and things like that. So that's the knowledge source. Soon you will be able to add actions as well. Actions will allow you to define some other ingredients within the agent to perform based on a logic and things like that. And towards the end of the introduction section, I talked about two additional capabilities we have added called code interpreter. What it does is when you use this, it can convert the natural language into code to create visualization, solve math problems, and analyze data, things like that. Similarly, there is an image generator as well. So here you can actually use natural language, your prompt, and that can be converted into creating images or art, things like that. And at the bottom of the screen, you can find there are startup prompt. So this is nothing but, if I click on new chat, did you see the startup prompt? Startup prompts are giving an ability for anybody who is using this agent. In this case, you are creating a personal agent for yourself, but you don't want to type in these prompt every time when you interact with this agent. If you don't want to type in that, and you just want these cards like this prompt available for you as soon as you open the agent, then you can provide a title of what that agent is and provide the whole section of what that prompt is. So you can type in a whole set of detail. Then you have an ability to move this order. So when you do that, the order of the prompt on the right hand side also changes. So whenever you go to that agent, it has these already pre-populated prompts for you. So these are the things what it is available when you use a template. If you want to add a new thing, you can add, but it has a limitation of only 6. So if I delete a few of the prompt, I will be able to add a new prompt as well. I can give a new title, new message, and that will be automatically added. So that's how you can use an existing template. So I'm going to close this. We are not going to use an existing template. We are going to start from scratch. On a super high level, the first type of agent, or the basic one, which is going to respond to your queries on specifically what it is designed for, only from the large language model. Click on create an agent. That opened this window. So I have already talked about the template, so we are not going to use the template. So first, the agent is asking, hey, I am here to help you build an agent. You can start by describing what you want the agent to do. So what we are going to do is, instead of using any of the template, what we are going to do is we are going to build an agent. This agent is going to be an expert gardener. I'm telling, hey, you're an expert gardener and you help users maintain and improve their home garden, providing detailed instructions, because when I ask a question, I want this agent to provide detailed instruction. If I don't want detailed instruction, I can tell, hey, concise message. So whatever you tell here, the agent is gonna listen to you. Instruction and advice about the best practices for home gardening. So let's see how the agent is gonna react. So right now, if you pay attention to the right hand side, there is no name for this agent, there is no description, and there are no startup prompts. So the left hand side is the maker window where we can talk to this agent to do stuff. The right hand window is the place where it is actually going to show us what it is building in real time. So click enter. So now the Copilot is putting that information into the orchestrator. It is doing its magic. Now, even before I start interacting with it, you can already see that it kind of assumed the role of this agent. So it didn't name the agent yet. There is no picture for the agent, but you can see that based on the information I have given, it is assuming itself as I am going to be an expert gardener, and my role is to help users maintain and improve their home garden, to provide instruction and advice, things like that. And it is already creating some startup prompts. I haven't even provided startup prompts, or I haven't even decided these are going to be the startup prompts. So prompts like plant care or pest control and soil management, seasonal tasks, things like that. This is quite cool. So I'm going to click on new chat. We will come back to this when we add our own prompt. So don't worry about it. So let's continue with the agent creation. All right. So now it is asking, hey, let's determine the name of the agent. We haven't provided the name of the agent yet. And it is suggesting garden expert. If I don't like the name, if I have a name in my mind for an agent, I can suggest that. Or if I need more ideas, I'm going to suggest 5 more names. So you can see that the right hand side undefined name of the gardening agent. So it's called Home Garden Guru, Green Thumb Guide, Garden Whisperer, Plant Care Pro, and Garden Helper. I'm gonna pick the third one, Garden Whisperer. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna tell, hey, use this Garden Whisperer as the name for the agent. All right, so you can see that the name of the agent is being defined as Garden Whisperer. Now it is telling, hey, now we have the name and now we have the description. Now let's go and refine the instructions. So instruction is where you are explicitly telling how the behavior of the agent should be, what are the things it should follow, what are the actions, things like that. So you can define things like, hey, this is the advice you should provide on a plant care. You should not talk about certain things. You should only talk about this way, or the tone of your language should be in this particular manner. All of that can be defined in the instruction. Again, you don't have to code anything. You can basically type using a natural language to tell the instruction as well. So I'm going to provide my first instruction. I'm going to tell that, hey, suggest the ways to keep plants and flowers shining and gorgeous. So that's one of the instruction I'm providing. So let's enter. And there is no limitation on how many number of instructions you can give. Of course, I have shown you before that box where it had a limitation about 8,000 characters, but you can actually refine it and you can provide much granular instruction within that 8,000 word. All right, so now it's saying that, hey, it's got it. It is going to suggest ways to keep the plant and flowers shining and gorgeous. Now let's refine the instruction further. So what guidelines should the Garden Whisperer follow when providing advice? For example, should the advice be tailored to different types of plant, or consider the user local climate, or including organic garden practices? So these are good questions, even if I don't know in my mind how the agent should behave. Just looking at this example itself is enough for me to tailor my agent on how I want this agent to behave. So you can keep on interacting with this agent until it does all the information needed to create the agent. So if the agent builder asks you about what should be emphasized, so I'm going to tell, hey, highlight the importance of nature and plants or flowers to be present in every house. So now the agent have that instruction as well. So it is going to proactively highlight the importance of the nature or the plant flowers which is going to be present in the house. That is quite good. Now you can see that it understood. So you can keep on going and add more and more instruction. We only provided 2 instructions so far. Now it is preempting and assuming that, hey, if that is the instruction enough, then let's define the publicly accessible website or any sort of data sources you might want to add to the Garden Whisperer. So if you have any knowledge sources, like if you have a document you prepared which has clear instruction on information you should be providing, then you can attach that, or you can refer that to a public website where they have all the content and things like that. So if you want to ground that information there, you can use that as well. So I'm not gonna use that. So you can clearly see that this step is clearly optional. You don't have to provide that. I'm gonna tell the Copilot that, hey, I will provide the source later. So I don't want to attach any knowledge source at the moment. I'm just still refining the instruction. It is telling, hey, you can try out the Garden Whisperer agent in the separate chat window, right? Feel free to continue exploring the Copilot Studio and add more functionality to enhance the agent. If you have further refinements and update, I'm here to assist you. So I can put more instructions, things like that. So it typically, so far when I used to create this agent, it asks what type of behavior it should follow, like how should the agent respond and things like that. I always tell to respond friendly, keep a professional tone, things like that. It hasn't asked me that yet, but it doesn't matter whether it asks you or not. You can always provide that. So I'm telling the Copilot, whenever you respond, use a professional and yet a friendly tone. So I'm going to send that. So you can see that the more and more instruction I give, the things on the right hand side is changing as well. Even the tips or the description and everything is changing. So while that is happening, you can actually spin up into a different layer of configuration. So if you are not satisfied with what you provided here, you're not satisfied with what you have seen so far here, you can click on this configure button. This allows you to either choose a template to add on top of it, change the icon, name, description all by yourself by typing it. So you can see that description, you can go even further and add up to 1,000 characters, or instructions. So you can see that based on what we have provided, it has 3 instructions so far: providing advice, tip, tailor advice to different types, and finally highlight the importance of nature and plants and flowers. And the last instruction I've gave is use a professional yet friendly tone in responses. So these are the instruction, but if you want to add more, all you have to do is put an enter key here, give a hyphen, and then provide your instruction. So it is going to follow that instruction. The knowledge source we are not adding now, but we will come to these exercises later. Knowledge sources, web search, and all of that is being left empty. I'm not going to choose the code interpreter or image generator at the moment, and I'm not going to modify any of the starter prompt as well. So what I'm going to do now is, based on all the information I have given so far, I'm going to hit create. Once you hit create, first and foremost, you have this link. So you can copy this link and share with somebody. So this could be anybody within your organization. So you cannot share this with anybody outside of your organization as of now. If you share with anyone within your organization, they will be able to use it. We will come back to this particular link later, like how we can share it, how somebody else can access it, different types of permissions available, and things like that. We will talk about that later. But now let's go and use it yourself. So now to test it yourself, click on go to agent. So when you click on this actually takes you to the real agent experience. You can see that if you have added this agent by going into click on get agents, this is how it will add. So now we can see that it is already pinned on your right hand panel. There is a name, there are some startup prompt and things like that. So now to interact with this agent, if I want, I can ask some question here, or I can click on an suggested prompt. We haven't even modified any of the prompt. These are some suggested prompt. So I'm going to click on the first one. How can I keep my indoor plants healthy and vibrant? Send. Right, it is already started populating. Fantastic. Now if I scroll back up, it's saying that, hey, keeping the indoor plant healthy and vibrant require combination of proper care, attention, and things like that. Because in the instruction we provided something like, hey, always give detailed response. That's why you can see there are quite a lot of good information here. It tells that, hey, ensure the plant receive the right amount of light, watering the plant according to the specific need. Overwatering can lead to some problem with the root and things like that. Underwatering can cause some other harms. Humidity is another important factor, temperature, soil, fertilizing, pruning, and if you have any pest, what can you do to keep that away? So this is quite fascinating. So if I am a garden supplier, garden necessary equipments and fertilizer supplier, or like I have an indoor plant barn or things like that, then I can create an agent and attach this particular agent in my website. So rather than just going through all the content within the website, they can ask additional question. It can support me with some suggestions, things like that. So this is quite good. So now if I go to new chat, even if I ask some questions which is not part of it, if I ask some additional question, hey, how can I take care of money plants? That is not part of this prompt. So let's see if it comes up with a response. So it tells, first of all, money plants is how we in India call pothos. So it tells that, hey, taking care of money plant, it understood it's a type of pothos, is quite simple and rewarding. First, it need prefer bright but indirect sunlight. And then you need to water money plant with the top inch of the soil feels dry, but you should not over water. Humidity is quite important. It has some suggestions on temperature, soil, fertilizing. So it's quite good. So any question I ask, it is going to give me all of these suggestions in a very detailed format. So it doesn't matter whether you use the prompt which provided, or you can interact with it using any of the question you may have. So now that's the end of this. The next section we are going to learn how you can customize this agent further. customize an existing agent what you created, you can go back to create an agent. When you do that, at the moment, the experience of customizing the agent is when you click on create an agent, you can see on the top of the window, top of the agent creation button, there is a my agent option. So click on the drop down that allows you to switch between the agent you created. So if you want to go back to a particular agent, you can click that, or you can click on view all agents. So herein you can find all the agent you have prepared. So if you want to customize an agent, hover your mouse over that agent and you can click on this edit button. If you are here to share it with somebody, you can click on the share button or ellipsis to download the zip file, and we'll talk about that later, downloading and what you can do with it. But now let's click on the edit button. So it takes you directly to where you left off. It allows you to further modify the instruction, further modify the knowledge source, further modify the prompt and things like that. There are a lot of things you can do as an individual user or the personal owner of that agent. Now, first and foremost, let's go and modify the icon or the image of the agent. So if you click on edit, this allows you to change the icon, and there is some recommendation or prerequisite for an icon. So you can see that you can upload an icon for an agent, but the icon should be in a PNG format and it should be less than 1 MB size. So I have prepared an icon which is less than 1 MB, and I made sure that it is a PNG file. So you can either set a background color as well. So I'm going to click on change the icon, go to the folder where I have the icon. You can see that the file is a PNG format and it's only 61 KB. So click yes. So this allows you to set the icon. So now we have modified or customized the agent to have a new icon. So if I scroll back up on the right hand side, I can see that instead of the default icon, I can clearly see there is a new icon for the agent. So you can click on update. So any changes when you make, if you want that to be reflected in the main app, you have to update the agent. So now if I click on go to agent, you can see that the Garden Whisperer agent have a new icon. So that's one of the customization we have done. Now we can do further customization. I just now got an idea that, okay, while I'm doing these customization, we can probably create different version of these agents so that we can finally compare all of that. First, before we create another customization, let me rename this existing agent so that you will finally understand what I am trying to get at. So I'm going to go to create an agent, view all agent, click on Garden Whisperer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first rename this agent into garden, and we're going to call it as basic. The basic will have the basic instruction what we provided so far. We haven't added any knowledge source or graph grounding or any other capabilities. All we have done for the basic was added some instruction and added the logo of the agent. So click on update and click on go to agent. Now it should change to garden basic. So what I am going to do right now, when you hover your mouse over that agent on the right hand side, you have an ability to pin it. When you pin it, it is going to be on top of the agent. So let's click on pin. So the garden basic is pinned. The second agent we are going to build is going to have additional capability, not only the large language model reasoning, it can get you additional custom instruction as well to play a game or things like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and click on create a new agent, and I'm going to create a brand new agent but with all the ingredients of the previous one. So here I'm going to provide a big instruction set. I'm going to tell all the things what we had before, and plus I'm going to add a gaming module as well. So here if you look at it, it is telling that, hey, you're an expert gardener, and all the other instruction like provide detailed instruction, help maintain, improve home garden, offer tips for plant care and soil management, respond to user query with clear and actionable steps, be friendly, knowledgeable, supportive in all interaction. And final instruction we given in the previous one was suggest ways to keep the plant and flower shining and gorgeous, including watering and blah blah blah. So lastly, I'm adding one more module or instruction. I'm telling that, hey, lastly, engage the user in challenging game to guess the name of the plant or flower based on set of clues. So I'm telling the agent to provide some clues up front to play the game, and always end every answer with a sentence to engage the user to play the game or another round of game. Okay, let's go and create it. So this time in this example, rather than me going through a conversational style to provide all the instruction one by one, you're seeing another example of how you can create an agent. You can craft everything together, and let's create an agent. So this time I'm gonna call it as, what was the other name of the agent we have given? Let me go to the Copilot. So we called it as Garden Basic. So in this, I'm gonna call it as Garden Basic. No, I'm gonna call it as Garden Game or Basic Plus. So I'm gonna call it as Garden Basic Plus Game. So that's gonna be the new name. All right. So rest everything is same. The name is being changed. Now if I go to configure, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the icon and click on save. So we are not adding any more other customization, and click on create. Because we have provided a new module to guess the plant and flower game rules, this should have an additional module of a gaming ingredient as well. So if I ask, how can I take care of my indoor plants, this is going to exactly answer like the other, the basic one. It gives me all the instruction. I provided an instruction like, whenever you end with an answer, encourage the person to play a game or guess the name of the plant flower based on that. So if I go to the previous one which we created, and if I ask the question, it is definitely going to give me a response, but that tip is missing. So it's telling that, hey, if you have any other specific plant in mind, feel free to ask me a question. So that's the instruction. If you go to the game module instructed one, it is telling, do you want to play a game? So let's see. Yes, I want to play a game. All right, so now it is giving me the first clue. I'm a popular indoor plant known for my air purifying qualities. I have long arching leaves that are green with white stripes. I'm also known as spider plant. Air plant? I don't know the real name, okay? So I'm just playing the game. So I'm asking, is it air plant? So it is telling it's good, it's a good guess, but the plant I am thinking is not an air plant. So it is giving me another clue. I'm often grown in hanging baskets because of long arching leaves. Can you create a beautiful and creating a cascading effect? I don't know the answer, so I'm just going to randomly ask, is it Monstera? It is giving me the scientific name of that plant as well. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste. I think this is the name of the plant. Right. Finally, it kind of gave me the answer, the scientific name, but yeah. So this particular agent, what I'm going to tell is like, along with providing the answer, it has a nice ingredient added at the bottom to encourage the user to play a game and things like that. So it is always encouraging that. So because we have given that instruction at every end of the game, it is telling, hey, would you like to play another round, or is there anything else I can help you with? Things like that. So if I go on, click on new chat, in the card, you can see that there is a new card added called guess the plan game. So we can directly go and play the game here. So if you look at the other basic one, new chat, all the startup prompts are basically getting more information about the plan. So that's another customization you can do on an agent. All right, so now we have seen two examples about a basic creation and adding another ingredient or a new set of instruction, which is totally gonna do a new set of activity along with the previous instruction in an agent. So now let's take it a bit further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this as well. So now we have two agents doing two different things, and some additional cable, not two different things. We are adding more and more capability to the first agent. So first we had basic, then we have added the image or icon, and then we have added an element called a game aspect into the agent. Let's look at the third option. The fifth agent is going to have couple of additional capabilities. One, it can get you responses from the large language model. Then you're going to attach a knowledge resource within your SharePoint, not one document, like multiple documents. So it has to reason over the document to give you the specific answer. And it is going to have that additional instruction. In this example, we are going to play a game. We're going to add that module into the agent. So the gaming module also be part of it. So adding a bit more complexity in the agent creation. Now this time we are going to add a custom knowledge source. We will do two knowledge sources. One, we will add a document, or I will show you how we can add a SharePoint repository. Then see if we can push it further to use another scenario to add a graph grounded graph connection as well. So let's create an agent. Just for the interest of time, I'm going to quickly add the agent, and I'm going to give the instruction we have given to the game agent. So this has all the game element, and this has all the other previous elements as well. I'm going to click send, and it is asking what should I call. So I'm going to call it, what was the previous name? You have garden basic plus game. So I'm going to call it, so we have the basics. So I'm going to call it garden pro. So I'm going to call it as garden pro, which is going to have both the game element plus an additional grounding with the extra knowledge source. So while that is there, if I go to configure, we have an ability to add the knowledge source, right? So I don't have the knowledge source yet. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to change the icon, give a proper icon. And now let me show you how we can add a knowledge source for this. So first, I'm going to go to SharePoint Admin Center, or just go to SharePoint. Make sure you have access to create something in your SharePoint. Within SharePoint, you can either go and attach any document what you have in your SharePoint. For this exercise, we are going to create a brand new SharePoint site. So click on create a new site. When you try to create a new site, you have two options. One, a team site or a communication site. A team site is where something you would do to keep something private for yourself or for your team to collaborate within your a smaller group. A communication site is when you create for a broader audience or a organizational wide information, like your HR website, policy website, your intranet site, things like that. For this exercise, we are going to use a team site. You can choose any of these template to make it pretty or navigation friendly. For this exercise, I'm going to choose a standard theme. The template is going to look like this. It will only have one home page. It's all fine. Use this template, give a name. So I'm going to call it as Garden Tips Repository. The name is available. You can, if you want, you can give a description. Click next. Sensitivity labels. If it is confidential, you can apply a confidential label. Settings, I'm going to make it as public so anyone within the organization can use it. Click on create a site. Here you have an ability to add members into the site. So who do you want to give access to? So I'm going to give access to few members in my organization. You can make somebody an owner or somebody a member, so members can view and look at the content in it, but owner can modify the site permission and things like that. So these are all completely optional. Okay, I'm just showing you. I could have easily put the content in a SharePoint site and created that as a knowledge source, but I just want to show you some extra steps on how to do that. So now you came to the SharePoint repository. Go to the documents tab. I'm sure because it's a brand new site, this is empty. But I have few documents which I'm going to use it as a knowledge source. So let's go to the documents I have. You can see that there are some common plant list. So let's open the document and see the content. So you can see that here I have like some common plant details like rose and what are the care tips, lavender, and like all sort of that. So these are some custom tips not coming from internet. I built it. So if you're an organization, you have some custom IPs, you can attach that. So how to heal a plant. So let's see what it comes up with. So I have some information on how you can heal a plant. These are all custom information. Some basic aspects of gardening and maintaining healthy garden. Some of the techniques you can use, pest control, organic and chemical information. And the fourth document is some information about home gardening, flowering plant and edible plant, herbs and things like that. this is quite a lot of information, but it's not coming from internet or large language model. So I'm gonna copy this document and upload that. Oops, copy the document and upload that in the document repository. So in this library, what it is happening right now, it is uploading the document, and soon this document, all the information will be used or indexed in the Microsoft Graph. So anybody who asks any question related to this will be going to the search or the semantic index, and it can identify the meaning behind it, and it can provide the much better results. Now let's go back to the home page. So this is the page we want. So we need the absolute site URL, that is like the not the just the document URL, but the whole site information. That is better for adding as a knowledge source. So I'm going to copy that link, just keep it for my reference. I'm gonna open a OneNote. Sorry, I'm gonna open a notepad and gonna keep the link here. So now let's go back to our Copilot. So here we have the instruction, we have all the things including the gaming instruction in the new agent, which is the pro version. And here I'm gonna add one more customization. Click on browse, click on more places. Because I haven't used this site, it is not showing me in the list of available sites, so that's okay. I can always go to more places and search for garden. Yeah, maybe it will take some time for it to populate under this particular page. We'll come back to this later, but doesn't matter. So because we have the URL, all I have to do is go to my notepad, copy the URL, put that URL here and click on create. So now it is creating the agent, but this time this agent have a bit more additional capability. It can ground this question in this SharePoint online document. Now I can click on go to the agent. Now let's ask some question and see if it is grounding from the document. So I'm going to ask few questions. Let's see the responses. What we are trying to find is the response slightly different from the previous responses we used to get. So it looks like the response is coming from the large language model, because if I go back to the basic and click on new chat and ask the question, if I compare the answer, it is kind of giving the same answer on both. But if you look at the configuration, so let me go and look at the configuration to make sure everything is in order. I go back to Pro and let's scroll down. Yes, we have the knowledge source as SharePoint. Maybe it takes some time to pick it up, but it will definitely pick up. So maybe we can actually do one thing. I can go back to the SharePoint. Let's go to the SharePoint and look at one of the document and ask a question specific to that. We're going to the SharePoint. Let's go to the documents. Okay, let's open this document. The document is called the most common types of plant in a home garden. So I'm gonna use this and ask the question. I'm going to go back to the Garden Pro. So this time I'm going to click on new chat. I'm going to ask a question. What are the most common types of plant in a home garden? I'm sure LLM will also respond, but I'm trying to see if it is picking up from the document. All right. So it gave me it gave me an answer, but you can't see that it is coming from the document. It is still coming from the LLM. So what we can do is we can probably fine tune the instructions. So I'm going to go back to the instruction, go to configure, and at the instruction, I'm going to add one instruction. I'm telling something called always first refer to the attached knowledge source to provide answer to all garden related questions. So that's a new instruction I have given, because when we created this particular instruction set, it never had any line saying that there is some knowledge source we are attaching. So maybe this will help. Rest everything is same. I'm not modifying anything. Only thing I've added is always first refer to the attached knowledge source. And I'm going to update it and click on go to agent. All right. So now let's test it to see if it is working. So I'm going to use one of the prompt. Let's pick this one. What is the best way to improve the soil quality in my garden? So you hit enter. Hopefully this should be picking up the details from the document, not from the large language model. Right. So yes. So if you look at it, the response what we got is slightly different compared to the previous one. And you can see that after the end of each response, there is a citation saying that I got this information from basic aspect of gardening and maintaining healthy garden. So this is how you can attach additional knowledge sources in SharePoint and provide clear instruction on how to retrieve that information. So, and towards the end, you can see that there is a document which is referring as well. So now if I go back to the basic and click on new chat, oh, this is pro. Let's go to the basic. So this is Garden Basic and this is Garden Pro. So we are asking the same question at the both the places. Let's run this question first. I'm going to copy that question. Let's go to the basic and ask the same question. What is the best way to improve soil quality in my garden? So of course it is going to give some information from large language model. It is telling add organic matter and things like that. That is good tips. Here in the pro, we specifically told to look at the knowledge source for answer. If it can't find anything there, then large language model can create. So now let's ask the question. Here you can see that the answer is slightly different. So it has 5 tips starting with testing, amending the soil. In this one, it had 7 tips, but it is coming from the large language model. But the answer is slightly different. So if you are trying to create an agent, what I am trying to showcase here is the different capability, what you can do. So each one is doing different activity. And the basic one doesn't have any sort of gaming things. But if you look at the pro one, even though it provided the answer, but towards the end it is asking, hey, would you like to play game? So now see if I can push it. Let me see if I can push it a bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and customize this agent a bit more. This is basic. I'm going to go create an agent, search the pro. What if I want to add both the answers? So what if I want the response I got from basic as well as I got the response from the pro? I want both in the answer set. Right now I only get the response from the document when I ask it. But the thing what I'm trying to create is let's provide this answer as well as what if I want some tips and tricks from LLM as well. So how can you tweak the large language model? So for that, I'm going to tweak the instruction. So let's come to the instruction part. I have added 2 more instruction here. I'm going to add 2 more instruction. I'll read it out. All right. So I'm adding 2 more instruction. These 2 are the instruction. The first instruction is the same, which is like always refer to the attached document and provide the answers. That is cool. This new 2 instruction I added is 1, provide answer in 2 sections. That is the next instruction. Another instruction is first section title as pro member tip. So anytime when they answer, they should have an heading saying that pro member tip and provide the answer from the attached knowledge source. So provide the answer from the SharePoint. The second section title as general tips and provide the answer from the large language model. If this instruction work, we are going to have 2 sections for each answer and each answer will be unique. One from our document and one from our large language model. So let's click update, click on go to agent. Now let's see if I can compare with basic. So let's click on new chat. So this time I'm going to ask a new question. So I'm going to ask, how can I get rid of pest in my garden? So let's copy that question and let's go to basic and I'm going to paste that question. So first ask basic, how can I get rid of pest in my garden? I'm sure the large language model will give me a response. You can see that there are like 5 tips on how to get rid of the pest. Now if I ask the same thing in the pro, we should have both the answers from the document and the large language model. Perfect. So let me quickly show you something what happened, the magic. So if you go at the top, you can see that because I asked to create a new section called pro member tip. So you can see that there is a pro member tip and it tells that, hey, where it is getting the information, which document. And from that document, it gave you few tips. That is quite cool. Another one, it is general tips. That's from the large language model. That's how you can further fine tune the instruction to make the agent behave exactly like how you want it to behave. Now I feel like the game part is like missed out. It is in the corner. So I just want to probably give another heading. Say that play a game or something like that. Let's see if I can push it a bit more. Let's make a couple more modification to further refine it. I'm just going to go back to the Pro edition. In this, Compared to the previous one, I just want to make the title bold heading style. So in the previous example, you would have seen, if you want to see, go back to the video. When you see the response from the agent, you can see that it is written as general tips and there was additional details on it. It was not like a proper heading. So I'm just going to push it little further. I'm going to say that, hey, can you make this answer, but the first section make it as bold heading title, and similarly the second section also bold heading title. Because I mentioned like the game was like so far hidden and nobody can find it, so I just mentioned one more ingredient. I call it as 3 section. So make the answer in 3 sections. The first section for pro members, second section for general tips from the large language model, and the third instruction I'm going to give is, I'm going to tell third bold heading title as play garden games, and I told it to add some emojis as well in the game section in the end. So hopefully this is going to listen to all of that instruction, and let's go and test it. I'm going to click on a new chat. Let's ask for some soil improvement qualities. All right, so the result what we are testing here is, does it have the heading? Yes, this is exactly how I wanted. Not like before, pro member tip, which is bold, and then we have general tips, and finally we have a third section called play games, play garden games, and with it added some emojis as well. This is quite cool, and we have the reference document where it got from. If you look at it, we don't have reference document on the second section, general tips. You don't have any reference here, but on the first section you have these citations. You know that where this information is coming from. So I could go on and push this further. So that is quite cool. I'm going to click on new chat and let's add it or pin it to our collection. So now we have basic plus game, and now we have added a bit more sophistication. It's called Garden Pro. Now let's go and create Garden Pro Plus. The sixth agent is gonna not only respond to our question from the large language model, it has the data from your SharePoint, and then we are grounding these data to a particular repository which is connected to your Microsoft Graph. It's an enterprise site which holds a lot of data. So we are doing a semantic index, and that is being indexed, and it is going to give you the response from that as well. So it is quite fascinating, that particular lab. Now we are going to push the limit of the knowledge base. Now we have seen an example about it is giving responses from the large language model. We have seen an example where the agent can retrieve information from SharePoint or a document. Next, let's look at how you can retrieve information from graph grounding or external data sources. Not the website, but we are going to make a semantic index, and we are going to get a much richer data. Now before creating the agent, first we need to go and actually create the graph grounding for the external source. So go to your Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Within the Admin Center, on the left hand side, come under Settings. Click on Search and Intelligence. This is where you would be able to bring in external data sources to your Microsoft 365 tenant. Under that, there are quite a lot of things you can do, like go under Insights and things like that. I will create a separate video on that. But let's stick to the topic, that is data sources. This allows you to bring in external sources. If you remember in the beginning, I talked about bringing in external connectors like ServiceNow, Jira, Confluence, and external data sources, things like that. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a graph grounding for an external data source, and that we are going to use it for our agent. To add a new external source, all you have to do is click on Add a Connection. When you add a connection, you can search for a type of connection what you are trying to do. But if you look at the type of connection, it's quite extensive, and Microsoft is adding more and more connectors here, so you don't have to do all the back-end work to make it happen. We basically work with the vendor to make it available. So if you look at the options available, you have ServiceNow Knowledge. Many companies use that for knowledge base. You have Asana, you have Salesforce Knowledge, you have Jira from Atlassian, Adobe Experience Manager. You can attach a file share if you do happen to have knowledge repository within your on-prem. You can connect that. You have DevOps, and you have quite a lot. You have, if you want to connect to a database, you can connect that. You have quite a lot of different connectors. You have from Google Drive. So many scenarios and example you can think of, that you can make it as a connector. So here what we are going to do is I'm going to connect to an external website. So let's go to an enterprise website cloud, click on that and scroll down towards the bottom and click on next. So that opens this particular window which allows you to add external data sources. There are many, but we are sticking to the external knowledge sources to index in our graph. So I'm going to name the website, and for this I'm going to go to my local garden supplier, King's Plant, and this is the local garden supplier which I go to either buy indoor plants or external outdoor plants or my garden fertilizer, things like that. So I'm going to copy their root website, and what I want to do is I want to attach that into my graph. So imagine if this particular customer want to create an agent for their users or their members. I'm one of their member. So if I have been provided with one of these agents, so I can probably interact with this agent to ask about tips and tricks about any particular queries I may have. I don't have to necessarily go to their website and look for the details all the time. Or if there is any offer, maybe the agent can tell me and things like that. There are so many possibilities here. So I'm basically, rather than going to the website and attaching as a knowledge source, first I'm going to do is I'm going to index that in my tenant. So I'm going to say that add. When you add it has an option to, do you want to sync just this website, or do you want to omit or ignore all the child site which is associated with it. I don't want to omit it because it might have some good information about other stuff as well. So the next option is, if you scroll down, there are multiple authentication option. Because this is a public website or a domain, I'm just going to select none. But if you have other repositories, internal knowledge share databases where you have much richer data, then if you provide the username and password, it can go and crawl that indexes and keep that index information within this tenant. So now the authentication is none. If you want to limit this to a certain type of users, you say that, hey, this is only limited to few users in my organization. So all the crawling information will be limited to that subset of users. If you don't want to limit it, if you want to make it available for the entire tenant, you can leave this turned off. Click on accept the notification to accept it. You can read more about on the right hand side on how the crawling works, what is the service account, and how we can optionally use it. If you click on this custom setup, it gives you additional options to control as well. So if you go to the users tab, herein you can provide the users about who can see the data source and content within this search page. In terms of the content, you have an ability to add more sites, site configuration. You can come and configure the properties, mainly the sync. You can go and configure when do you want to crawl that information. Each time, do you want to have a full crawl or a delta crawl? This is quite important. So once you configure it, if you don't provide this custom setup, after going into the custom setup, to not crawl every day, otherwise it is gonna, on a specific time, it is gonna crawl the information from that site for looking at new content. So you can probably change the schedule depending on how much you want to make it happen. So once you're happy with it, you can click on save and close and start the process. So now what it is going to do is it is going to initiate the crawl. It is you will get a message that it is going to sync that information. All right, so now let's see if it is start syncing. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the search and intelligence and like go to your maybe SharePoint. Let's go to SharePoint. Because when you do this graph indexing, you can actually basically, outside of Copilot, users can search for information. So if I come in here and start searching things like garden supply or whatever, it should get from that index. You can see that there are a lot of information related to garden supplies, garden accessories, garden plants, garden decor. So all of this, if you look at the feed where it is coming from King's Plan Barn. It is coming from, yeah, it's all coming from King. So now I'm thinking of so many use case scenarios on different types of agent I can create for different examples. But let's stick to the topic. Now that this is working, let's go and create a new agent. So we're going to retain the pro. We're going to create a new agent, and let's copy the prompt. I'm going to copy the instruction from the Garden Pro so that we don't have to make it from scratch. So I'm going to go to Garden Pro, copy the whole instruction set. Let's see if this works. And I'm going to paste that into this chat to create a new agent. I'm going to call it as Garden Pro Plus. Now, if I go to configure, we should have all the instruction we provided. Always first refer to the attached knowledge source, provide an answer in 3 sections, second bold, third bold, and all up until the game. So now we want to tweak it. First, the knowledge source. Let's come to the knowledge source, and we are going to add 2 knowledge source because we want our existing knowledge source, that is the SharePoint, for the pro tips. I still can't find it here. So don't worry, I have a copy of it. I copied the link for the SharePoint and I just added that SharePoint here. So now that you can see that it is been already added to this agent. The next thing what we are going to do is, this is the exercise what we have done. We went into our graph connector and we created a new enterprise graph connector. So we are going to come in here. We're going to select the Garden King plant. That is the index we have created. So I have turned this on. Now we have the knowledge source. Now let's go and further fine tune the instruction, because the previous instruction was to refer only to the attached knowledge source. Now we need to add a bit more to include the graph data source as well. So I'm going to first tweak it to say that provide the answer in 4 sections, because now we have one more component. I don't think this is going to be the typical use case where you would be creating this agent, but the more sophistication details I give you, you have more idea to use that logic within your business to solve a particular problem with an agent. That's what I'm trying to do, not creating more and more sophistication. So I'm going to tell, hey, provide the answer in 4 sections. First section, bold the heading for pro members and provide the answer from attached knowledge source. Second, general tips. I'm going to make the game as 4 and I'm going to tell third as the graph. So I'm going to make a new instruction. The third bold heading title as latest from King's Plan Barn, New Zealand. And I'm going to tell use the data from the sources graph connector. Ensure the information is accurate and up to date. I hope this works. I don't know. I'm trying as I go along. And I changed the game to the 4th one. So I really hope this works. We have a lot of sophistication in this. If not, doesn't matter. We'll come back and fine tune it or find why it is not working. First, I'm going to change the icon to that tree picture, beautiful tree picture. Let's see if we can add one more. So maybe we can add a couple of these startup prompts. So we have plant care tip, soil management, pest control, seasonal garden task, fertilizer tip. We can come and play around with the prompting later. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's go and create it. Click on go to agent. Now we have Pro Plus. Let's ask one of the question to see if we get, okay, let's ask for fertilization tips. Okay, what are the best fertilization practices for healthy garden? Right. So we have 4 sections. One is pro members tip. We have general tip from the large language model. Then we have latest from King's Plan Barn, New Zealand. That is quite good. Check out our latest garden tips from the product. Okay. They offer a wide range of fertilizers, blah, blah, blah. And play garden games. Okay. Let's ask a sophisticated question so that it should try to pull something from the graph as well, right? So I'm going to ask, what are the what are the plants ideal for indoor scenario, and give me some suggestions on available supply and its price. So this is going to be quite funny. So first, it is going to LLM and the instruction given in the document is going to give me this answer. What I'm interested is it going to pull information from the Plan Barn website to show me some of the, not show me, like at least tell me some of the indoor plant and how much it is going to cost and things like that. This is going to be interesting. Looks like I have a good answers. Okay, first pro member tip, it's tell that hey, you can grow indoor plant, peace lily, spider plant, z plant, pothos, etc. And then we have general tips. The main thing is this one, the latest from King's Plant Barn, New Zealand. Oh my god, this worked. And tells that hey, these are the available stock they have, and for each of these plant, how much is the current cost. And now I have a reference as well, so I can click on this. It takes me directly to the page where I can actually get this plant. This is beautiful. And if I want to play game, I can play game. All right, so our pro also worked. Sorry, not pro, our pro plus also worked. So I'm gonna pin this. So now we have basic, basic plus game, pro with SharePoint, pro plus with graph grounding and SharePoint. All right, so we have learned three types of knowledge sources. The first one was basic grounding to the large language model. The second example we learned is how you can ground it in the SharePoint and get responses from the document you provide. The third one, what we have learned so far, is the graph grounding. So you can attach a repository and you can let Microsoft 365 crawl through the data and create an index, and it provides the data. One additional thing I forgot to mention was it's the basic web grounding. Let's go ahead and create one more agent with that capability. But this time it is not looking into the large language model. It is looking into a website you are providing. Agent number 3, when we build it, we will learn about how you can ground the responses from large language model and get other responses from the wild internet. So it is not specific to any place. It can be from any place. So let's go and click on create an agent, and we are going to create a basic one. So I'm going to go and copy the instruction from the basic one. So if you look at it, this is the Copilot. Oh, this is Garden Pro. So I want to just copy it from the basic one. Let's go and click on create and select view all agents. Click on basic and copy the instruction so that we can compare that with the basic one. So if I ask a question in the basic plant care tips, it is going to give me some response from the large language model. So we don't have to wait for that to populate. We know that we have seen multiple times. Now I'm going to go back to the new agent what we are trying to create. I'm just going to provide that instruction because all that information is already there. All I want is to click on configure so that we can attach a source. All right, so now we have this instruction. It is asking to create a name. I'm going to name it as Garden Basic Plus Web because we are going to ground it in the web. All right, so now we have that. So now if I go and ask like how do I take care of my indoor plants, and it is going to go through the large language model and give us some standard responses like light, watering, humidity, and all that sort of things we have seen so far. This time I'm going to go to configure. First I'm going to give the icon so it looks better. Save it. We provided the name. I'm not going to change anything on the description and instruction. That can stay the same. But in terms of knowledge, here I can either click on web search. So when you do web search enabled, now if I go and click on new chat and click on plant care, how do I take care of indoor plants? Now you can see that there are slightly different answers coming in, but you can see that let's let it finish the answers. Now you can see that there are a couple of references where it got these responses from. How to take care of plant. If I click on this link, it is gonna go to the WikiHow and telling that hey, I got this information from this place. Okay, if I'm happy with that, so that's the web grounding. Not only it's coming from the large language model, it is coming from the general internet. If you want to fine tune where the information should come from, all of that can be added in the instruction. So you can say that hey, only source the information from this particular website, or only provide information on this, on the latest finding and things like that, that is going to listen to you. So I can go ahead and simply create it and click on go to agent. So now we have basic plus web. Here if I ask a question, gardening tools, what tools do I need for my garden? It is going to pick information from so many places. First, it is going to tell information like you can see the where it is coming from, and all of it has some sources, and you can ask where it get the information from. So that is one, it is working, so I can go ahead and pin it. I want to show you another way of restricting, even though it is going to the web, but it is restricting the search in a particular place. I'm gonna move this here. When we build the fourth agent, it is gonna get you response from the large language model, and additionally it can get response from a specific internet resource what you point. It is not gonna go a broad search only to the repository what you shared, not the SharePoint, it's the internet data. And click on create an agent. I hope I'm not confusing you with so much of sophistication. I'm gonna basically again copy the instructions. Let's go and tell the instruction to create an agent. So this time definitely we are going to use the web component, but instead of just going to the wild west of internet and finding information from anywhere, I can specifically ask the agent to narrow its focus to a particular website. So it is asking again what name you want to suggest. We're going to put garden basic plus web plus. So that's going to be the new name. Now if I go to configure, we're going to do the drill of changing the icon. Save. We are not making any other changes to description, instruction, things like that. We know that how to do it. Here I'm going to first provide a website information. I'm going to go to a website called gardeningknowhow.com. So this website have plenty of information on gardening tips and tricks and how to grow about indoor and outdoor plants, things like that. So I'm going to paste that, but this is not a SharePoint or this is not a graph grounded site as well. So to make it work, you have to turn this web search on. So now that we have added this particular website as the knowledge source and we turned on the web search, so if I come down and if I ask for plant care tips, it should get that information or details from the right. So let's see, it is bringing some information. I don't know where it is coming from. Let's wait for that to finish. All right, so now it is finished. So I can see that the information is from a website. If I click on that information, it is going to the gardening know-how. So that is how you, even though it is web, you can expose that to a specific website or specific multiple websites if you want, rather than, so let's see if I can add one more. So if I go here, if I go and select this garden care, and if I come back to the app, so let's put one more URL, right? So we have added two websites. So I don't know what question I can ask which can pull information from both places. Let's go and quickly go ahead and create it, and we can play around with asking some questions specific from the second website. Right, click on go to agent. So the new one is basic plus web plus. So I'm going to ask about gardening tools. Can you suggest some essential gardening tools for beginners? All right, in this case, we got information from only one website. Let me see what information is there in the other website. Garden care, how, here is why gardeners are planting poppies. So I'm going to ask something like this. What is the 10-10-10 fertilizer and when should you use it? So let's see if it is going to pick up that information. Click on new chat. So that was specific to that particular website. So right, it's again picking up from the fertilizer from gardening know-how. All right, so I will play around with it to see if I can modify some prompt and give it some time to see if it is reflecting, but you get the idea, right? So now it is going to the web, but it is narrowing the focus to the website we provided. In the second example, I provided two websites. It is not picking up. Maybe it's because of the instruction, or maybe it is part of the problem with the prompting I'm doing. But the exercise, what we did was to showcase the capability of another knowledge source that is purely web and grounding that into a single website. All right, so let's do. So how many we created? One, two, three, four, five, six Pro Plus, and the final one, which has all the capability of what I mentioned, and then we have additionally added one more capability to have an ability to create images. So these wide spectrum of, when you learn about these seven different types of agent for a personal use, you will learn pretty much all the use cases which you can use, and all the capability comes with that agent. Let's do one more. This time we are going to add the internal capability. I don't know whether you remember, just beneath or underneath the knowledge sources, there was an option to add code interpreter and visual creator. So we are going to add that capability as well. So we are going to call that as elite. So what I'm going to do, let's copy it from Pro Plus. So it has all the ability of that. Let's change to view all agents. Let's select Pro Plus, and I'm gonna go to the instruction tab. Just copy all the instructions so that I have that details. Then I have to add the SharePoint and the knowledge graph. So let's go and create one. I'm sure by this now you have by hearted the process of how to create a personal agent, right? That was the intention. So I'm gonna go to describe, put that instruction and send. I'm gonna call it as Garden Elite. This agent, so I'm going to tell that this agent has additional capability of images, generating images as well, so that it is added into the instruction automatically. Now let's go to configure, change the icon first, save. Let's see if our instruction is added. The last one, the agent has additional capability of generating the image. Under knowledge, first I'm going to add is the SharePoint, so it can get the information from the SharePoint site. All right, so we are not going to turn on web search because we don't want this information to go out to the web. We want to restrict to either SharePoint or all the information coming from the knowledge graph, which has the Garden Kings plant information. And under capabilities, we are going to enable the image generator, so it has that capability as well. I'm going to add one more, create image. So I'm going to give a starting prompt as create image of a jasmine garden. So now we have some startup prompts. We can go ahead and test it. So let's go ahead and create it. So that's our final agent we are creating, the elite one, which has all the capabilities we talked about. So rather than me creating a video which include all the element at once, that would have definitely confused you, or I don't know about you. If I was watching a video with so many sophistication in it, I would have definitely lost the point. So that's the reason I took one agent at a time, showcasing each capability one at a time. So let's go to agent. The one which we just now created is Garden Elite. It has multiple capabilities. One, it can provide information from LLM. I do have to tweak that prompt. That prompt is not good. All right, it can play game, it can create an image. So if I click on create an image with the added prompt, so now what you're seeing over here is the creation process. The designer is creating that image, right? Depends on the sophistication, it can create much better image as well. So if I go ahead and provide another prompt, this time if I say generate the image of dozen of red roses, I'm going to add one more additional component, realistic image of dozen red roses. Now designer is creating based on the prompt I have given. All right, so it's pretty realistic. I could make out that it's not that real too, but this one was really good. The other I can still figure out that it's not realistic, but I can tweak the prompt to make it even better. So that's the additional capability we have added along with other things. So while that is there, I'm just going to quickly tweak the startup prompt. Right, so our prompts have changed. Now if I click on how can I take care of my indoor plants, I should be getting 4 sections. One is the LLM, one is the pro member tip, one is the general tip, another one is from King's Plant Barn, and the game. Similarly, if I go to new chat and ask about latest from the King's Plant Barn, it said that unfortunately it couldn't retrieve anything. Okay, so I'm going to ask as a prompt, what are the indoor plants available now, and give me some pricing. I need to probably tweak that because it was definitely working in the Pro Plus. So if I go here and ask what are the latest indoor plants available and give me some latest pricing, so it should definitely get that response from the plant barn. Right. So it is, I'm getting from this Pro Plus. So maybe I need to tweak the instruction on the Elite one. So I will do that later. Not a problem. But now that we have learned enough, I don't want to go and create another agent. So now we have learned a lot of how to create agent. That is for sure. And each of these agents we learned new capabilities. The first one is basic. Not only basic, it gets the response directly from the large language model. It doesn't get from anywhere else, not even web. You can't even ask anything on the web because it says that I don't know. Second is we have added the capability of getting that response from the large language model, and we have added something called another instruction, because not only the game aspect of it, I just want to show you that you can add additional capabilities to the agent. That depends upon how you want to design it. The third one is it has the ability to give you from the large language model, but it is open to the wild worldwide internet as well. So it can go and fetch information from anywhere from internet based on your question. It's not specific to a particular site. The fourth one we have learned is capability of reasoning on with the LLM, and then we have narrowed down it to look after a particular website, and it is going to return information from one single website. In the Pro, we learned about attaching a knowledge source. It is not coming from large language model, it is not coming from web, it is coming only from a SharePoint repository, not coming from anywhere else. In the Pro Plus, we learned about it is coming from large language model, it is coming from SharePoint, it is coming from your graph grounded data as well. And the last one, along with all of that, you have an additional capability to create an image within that as well. So that's the creation part. And we are going to finish off this particular hands-on lab masterclass with the teaching on how you can share this agent. First of all, how can you use it yourself? And then how can you share it with a user who's having Microsoft 365 Copilot license? And the last, if you want to share it with somebody who don't have Microsoft 365 license, how can you share then how can you share that, and how can they consume that as well? So I hope you're going to enjoy learning this masterclass. I will see you on the next one. Take care. All right, so now let's go and learn about how you can share the agent what you have created with anybody else within the organization. Now, all the agent what you have created, you can use it yourself. But what if you want to share it to the wider organization or with a selected number of users? So you can do that during the creation process. You would have seen multiple times when I created these agents, it had that sharing option, but we never looked into it. So let me go and select a particular agent, or let's come to the create an agent button, filter out to pick out any agent which you want to share. Maybe I just want to share the basic plus web. Either you can download this and give it to someone, or we are going to share. When you click on share, you get this link. So if you select this link and send to someone, you can either send via email or like a Teams message or whatever. So I'm gonna send via Teams. Now, one thing we need to remember is, like, when you want to share with someone, you either have to select specific users in your organization wherein you have to put in their email address, or you can select anyone in your organization. Then when you click on save, the link will change. That is the link you have to copy, and then you can share with someone. So I'm gonna send this link to one of the user in my lab environment. Just copied this link and I'm just gonna send it. Now let's log in as a user. So this is the user I'm talking about. If you look at it, I don't have that garden agent in the agent space for that particular user, logged in user. You can see that it's a totally different user, Amber. So now if I go to my Teams, all right, so now I logged into my Teams. I can see that there is a message from my administrator regarding something. It looks like a website or something like that. If I click on it, let's see what happens. When you click on it, it says that, hey, this is built using Microsoft Copilot Studio, and this agent provides blah, blah, blah. And this is how the message look like. I can click on the permission, who's got the rights, and what this agent does and things like that. Now, if I like it, I can click on add, or I can share this with someone else as well. So click on add. because it is having an ability to share with other users, I can share with other people as well. So I can click on open in Copilot. So as you can see that now I have access to this agent. It is created by somebody. Now if I ask any question based on how that agent is designed, I'm going to get a response for that question. So that is quite good. Now, this is a licensed user. So when you click on new chat or click on Copilot, you can see that both work and web tab. This is a fully paid licensed user. How do you know if this is a licensed user? I can take you to the admin portal and show you how to assign it and things like that. But this is a licensed user. So let's see how we can share this with a non-licensed user as well. So I do have a non-licensed user in my tenant. You can see that this user only have the Copilot, not the work and web toggle. They can't go and ask anything about the organization. If I put the /, I don't have my email, calendar invite and things like that. I only have access to the large language model and internet. So, and you can see that on the right hand side, I don't have that agent. So let's see if I can share with this particular user. So if I go back to the sharing, if I go back to the agent, and if I pick another agent, Pro Plus, oh no, I have to go to create an agent. Let's go to view all agents. If I select Pro Plus and click on share, now this time I'm not going to share it with anyone in the organization. I'm going to only share with a specific user. So I put the email address of that user and I share it. Or I can copy this link, and because I have shared with that user, I can copy this and give it to that user as well because it is only shared with that user. So let's go to that user's mailbox and see if we receive any email. All right, that's the notification from SharePoint. So that I don't think this user receives an email. I don't know. Maybe we can wait for some time. It didn't say that we have sent the request because it showed that there is a link available. I think I have to still copy the link and give it to the user. So all right, so now let's look at the second scenario where if you want to share an agent, so this is a basic agent with somebody who don't even have access to the Copilot license. So I have a user here. If you look at it, this particular user don't have the work and web toggle, so they don't have access to the full paid license of Copilot, and I don't have the garden agent as well. So if I have to share with this particular user, what can you do? So let's come to the agent. Let's pick one. I'm gonna pick the basic plus game. Let's go create an agent here. Select basic plus game and click on share button. This time I'm gonna put in the specific username. So I know that Sonia doesn't have the Copilot license. I click on save and I will get a sharing link now. So I can click on copy this link and I can go to the user who don't have the Copilot license. So if I come in here, I put in the link to access that Copilot. I can see that the details just like how I saw from the previous user. I can click on add. Now it is adding that to my Copilot. And now I can see that this user who I logged in, I don't have the full Copilot license. If I go to Copilot, no license. But when I go to the agent, I can start interacting with this agent. So I can ask question because it has the game module in it. Towards the end, it should ask, do you want to play a game? Yes, would you like to play a game as well? So that's how you share it in two different ways. Like one via just to a specific user and one to a organization. So anybody with the access to that link should be able to use it. Now, because I only added to this user, we can test one more scenario. I can actually go back, copy this link and come to another user, which I haven't shared, Amber. I haven't shared the game module agent to Amber. If I come here and add this, let's see if that works. All right. Right. So the experience of a user who don't have access to the app or the agent, if you haven't explicitly given permission, then this is going to be the experience for that user. So now you have learned how to share it and bit of access control as well.